Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. Today, in this Rogue AI session, we'll be talking about switching to a data science career. Is it worth it? So, we'll be considering how to make a quality stay versus switch career decision. We'll have a quick intro, then we will discuss what does it take to be able to make a stay versus switch career decision. Then we'll do a quick demo and then we'll end up in a discussion. My name is Ali Turaf. I'm sharing tech and business insights through Rogue AI. And then if you're interested in a recording of this presentation, just drop your email on my website and then I'll send you a lot of information there. You can get in touch with me on Twitter, on LinkedIn, just drop me a note there. And then let's get started. So how to make quality stay versus switch career decisions. So my motivation behind this talk stems from the increase in interest in artificial intelligence technology, data science, decision science technology. There's many names around the same topic. A lot of acquaintances and then people I interact with asking for advice on how to get into data science and how to get a job in data science. There's a lot of information out there. However, people feel like they need to understand better from someone in the industry. So this talk is about my experiences, some of what I've learned along the way, and then a structure of what does it take to start from a different career and then switch to another career. I'll be sharing some insights and advice about the decision model I built to clarify that. So, in case you don't know, what do data scientists do, right? I mean, that's a valid question. That's a valid question. Um, a lot of times, it's weird. I mean, this term is new, and then there's sometimes a lot of confusion about it. Oh, okay, so you deal with data. So what do you do? So these are 10 things that data scientists do. They ask good questions. They define and test a hypothesis. Is it going to rain today, for example? That's a hypothesis. They find and sample business relevant data about your business that is relevant to your operation, for example. They clean and wrangle and wrestle and tame the data so it's usable. They explore and discover and then visualize the data playfully to discover unknown relationships. They build a model around the data using smart algorithms. They understand data relationships. A plus B equals C. They tell the machine how to learn from data automatically so you don't have to build the model manually. They create data products that deliver actionable insights. For example, Google Analytics to track visitors to your website. And most importantly, this is often overlooked, they tell impactful business stories that will lead to better decisions. So, with that in mind, now that you know a bit better what data scientists are doing, I'll tell you a bit more about my personal journey and how I transferred my career to a data scientist career. My personal journey, so I took a couple of online courses to improve my coding skills, mainly with Code Academy. Then at my existing job, I found a use case for a project that I was working on, and then I developed um, a web application for that use case, which was very successful with the team I was working on. But sincerely, after that, I was kind of looking for opportunities to get into data science, and then I got really lucky to start a data science practice with a startup, a consulting startup. And there's a big factor here for luck. I was ready, I've done my homework, I had some projects under my belt with my previous company, but then I was in a really nice position where could jump on an opportunity to start a data science practice with a consulting firm. And then that is how I transitioned my career to kind of data science. But hopefully, in the course of this presentation, you'll see what you need to do for your specific case to be able to transition your career to data science if that is something you're interested in. So we're going to follow a framework that I really like and I think is very useful to make decisions in your personal life. And then it's basically quality decision making. How do you make decisions that are of high quality? So you start by framing the problem that you're interested in, then you explore what choices you have, you collect data about the choices that you're interested in exploring, you define what is important for you to make those choices successful. What are the value measures? Then you do an analysis and then you decide on and move on into action. For our framing, for our current kind of scope of discussion, uh, it's mainly this. I mean, you can explore and then widen the compass as much as you like, but it's mainly should I stay in my current job or should I switch to a data science job? Mainly you're deciding what is it you want to do with your life on a professional and on a career level. And then it's something that is very hard and very challenging to define what you want to do. And then it lies at the intersection of what you love, what you're good at, what you can get paid for, and also what the world needs. Um, and then that's what makes it a bit complicated, right? So hopefully you know that you want to change career, for example, you're in that position, and you know that maybe data science is something that you want to explore. Then, starting from that frame of reference, we can um, continue the discussion to say what are the choices that you have currently, right? One of the choices is, for example, to stay in your current job. Another choice is to stay in your current job, but keep an eye out on opportunities in data science and also in improving your skills to be able to apply and change your career towards data science, right? So this is the stay and look option decision here that we have. Another option is to say, hey, I'm super excited about this. I'm super committed to this. I want to quit my job right now and then start learning this new amazing career opportunity that is data science and AI, for example. That is also one option that you have. So in this talk, we'll be exploring these options and then see what is best for you, specifically using a model that we'll be building together. So what data do you need? What do you need to know to be able to make one of those informed decisions, right? Um, you need to know, okay, how much you're making right now, how much is a data science salary, for example, that would be interesting for you to kind of strive for. Maybe it's important to have the years of experience that you have. If you have 20 years of experience in a certain industry, it's not the same as if you have 1 year of experience and that maybe affect your job prospect. Um, Very important variable here. What is the time that you'll spend finding a new job? I mean, is it going to take you a year, 2 years, 6 months, 1 month? That's a super important variable to help you decide what to do. How much savings do you have? For example, if you decide to quit your job today, I mean, you need to live somehow, and you need to have some savings, right? And correspondingly, you'll have a burn rate. How much are your living expenses? How much can you live off? What is your data science hireability? Are you hireable in a data science opportunity or in a technology opportunity? Do you have the skill set required, the projects required to be able to kind of jump onto a role like that? Um, what is kind of the interest rate, just so we can kind of factor in our calculations. What is the growth rate of your current career? Do you expect that in your current job, if you stay for the next, let's say, 5 years, you will grow on a professional and on a financial level to what state? Is it like 10%, 20% more? What is the cost of training yourself into data science? Um, what is some proof of data science work that you've done? I mean, these are some of the variables that you can think of if you're considering making a switch in this case, we're talking about data science career, but it could really well apply to any other career, right? There are other variables. For example, I mean, incompatibility. You move and you start in this new job, and then it's not really interesting, and then you'll have to move back or quit, and that is a whole other dimension that you need to think about, right? You really need to be sure that this is a big change for you, and then you're interested in committing to it. There are other values we could think of, um, and then, but for now, for the sake of this analysis and the time that we have, I wanted to keep it short and then narrow so we can get somewhere. So, what are value measures? What consequences do we care about? Mainly, I mean, we do care how much money you'll be making by switching over staying. I mean, if that's something that matters to you, then that is definitely a measure. Maybe money does not matter to you, and then it's more your happiness and your fulfillment in your current job. Um, and then you can do kind of a subjective index to track, okay, I wasn't happy and now I'm more happy, and then what will make me mostly happy? Quitting my job right now and then moving to a new job, or basically staying a bit until I find another job? What compromises are you willing to take on your happiness level and then on your financial reward level to be able to get where you want to get? So for the purpose of this talk, I mean, to simplify the analysis that we'll see together, I'll skip the net happiness value to measure the value measure in our decision model. This will make things easier so we can follow along. But that is something that you can factor in a decision model that you build. So now that we've covered some of the input variable that we'll need, let us build a simple decision model to illustrate logical thinking for our switch versus state decision. And then I'll be using a software called Analytica. Think of it as a super amazing Excel spreadsheet with drag and drop functionality for different variables. I'll show you later on a demo about that, and then we can kind of go over it. So you remember the variable I just talked about before, your career different choices, your data science salary, your proof of data science work, your years of experience. Now I've structured them in what we call an influence diagram. And this influence diagram is basically showing your relationships from one node to another node. So for example, the cost of data science training here will impact my data science hireability. How? For example, you have training data science training boot camps and programs. Some of them run in the thousands of dollars, and some of them provide guaranteed job interviews after you finish your boot camp. And that is one option that you have. And then if you pay the thousands of dollars, you'll have a higher data science hireability, right? However, another option is like what I did. I self-taught myself Python on Code Academy, and then just it was free actually. And then by luck, I was able to get hired in a data science job. But I also had a couple of proof of data science work which helped me getting that job, right? So there's multiple factors here that are affecting my hireability, and then my time to find a job. And this is super important because um, my burn rate, which is my living expenses to be able to stay alive. If let's say I have $10,000 saved, um, and I need $10,000 per year to live, that means I can only stay alive 1 year before going back to get a job, right? So you see all of these variables, they're all getting interconnected and they all affect each other. And that is why an influence diagram like this is super helpful in connecting the dots. Now, everything that you see here on the screen is linked using formulas, and I'll show you a couple of them later on. So for example, the input variables to estimate the decisions that we care about uh, are as follow. These are examples decision variables. They might be different for you, but these are kind of a good starting point. So for example, let's say your current salary is $60,000 a year, and then you did some research and you found that in your area where you're living, data science salaries are around $100,000, and that is kind of really interesting because it's almost a 40% increase from your current base salary, right? And typically the data science salaries vary by areas. So in the US, I mean, if you're in the Midwest, it's different than if you're on the West Coast. In Europe, it's also different, and in different regions of the world, it will be different. So that is why building a model like this might be useful for a lot of people because you can basically plug in some of the values and then get a result that fits your inputs. Uh, the years of experience that we talked about, and this will affect your, like we see here, your data science hireability. The cost of a data science training, let's say you took a couple of courses, you got a couple of certificate, and this amounted to $1,000. And let's say you have a proof of data science work, one really good project, solid project that you can just take out there and then showcase it to the world. Your burn rate, let's say to be able to live, you and your family, you need about $50,000 a year, and you have a lot of expenses, like, right? Now, an interesting variable here is the time to find a data science job. And then what this formula here means, I mean, you don't need to get into the details. This is kind of a normal distribution. It's uncertain. You can find it in, let's say, 3 years. For example, here it's saying 3, the sample value that I have in, and then with a standard deviation of 0.3, right? So it might be 3, most likely the mean average value of finding a data science job in your area. However, it might also be 1 year. However, it also might be 5 years, right? That there's a lot of uncertainty here. And this uncertainty in finding a job will of course affect your decision because you can't stay a long time without a job because you have a burn rate and then you're spending money. You need to stay alive, right? Then if you have a lot of savings, you can basically do that trade-off and figure out how much you can stay alive and then look for that job. So if we basically do this analysis, which I'll show you later on in the demo, and then we calculate something called the net present value, which is basically how much money you'll be making over the lifetime of the project, which is about 10 years. Um, I'll show you next later on the kind of the model, and then we can discuss and then open the floor for discussion. But the last thing I want to mention is the trade-offs that you're making here. So switching career is hard, and time is not your friend. Your job is to really race against time to be able to do this transition and to equip yourself with all the tools and skill set that you need and the proof of work and credentials from your network and the people that you know to be able to be hireable really quickly. And of course, at the same time, you should be cutting your own expenses um, to give yourself maximum runway in case you decided to quit and then look for a different job and train yourself towards that transition. Now you can minimize all of this, the effect of these variables here by saying, hey, I want to save for a couple of years before making that transition, and that is a smart move. And you can see this from this cash flow diagram here. If you decided to quit, now you're just spending money for a year or two, and that's a lost income, right? While if you're staying in your current job and then you found a data science job, which is a higher paying job in this scenario, you overall you'd be making more money on the long term. And that is really obvious here. But if you play with different variables, you see that sometimes it's not obvious. All right, let's jump to the demo. You guys can see my screen, I'm assuming still. And this is what Analytica looks like. So this is a free software. You can basically go to their website and then download it. This is the inference diagram that I showed you guys about before. And this is some of the variables that you can input to change some of the result. So before diving into some of these details, I just want to show you, okay, let's say you found a data science job that pays 170K, right? A senior position somewhere. You have 10 years of experience. You trained yourself in a super nice boot camp, and you spent 10K to go through that 3 month boot camp. You have a lot of proof of data science work and credentials. However, I mean, you have a big family and then you have a lot of expenses and all of that. So let's say, I mean, you're spending 50K a year on that. And in your area, you hear from your friends and some of the research that you've seen, and then giving the current market conditions, that it takes, let's say, 3 years for a data scientist to get hired full time, plus or minus, right? Just kind of, we're just putting some numbers here. If I press on calculate here, I'll get kind of a result. And then this result is taking in those input values here, and then it's spitting out what the NPV, the net present value that I showed you here. And it's saying, okay, with these input conditions, this is some of the output values that you have. It's recommending that you stay before changing for your job, although it's super close with the quit now and then look for a job, because I mean, this opportunity is super lucrative. However, that means, I mean, if you're gonna quit now and look for a job, let's see here. Yeah, I mean, that means you'll be for close to 2 years without an income, right? And that is not something desirable. You should have some savings to be able to do that, right? What else can I show you here? So what would be interesting, I didn't have time to do this for this session, but what would be super interesting to do here is to see, okay, um, what if what is the likelihood of me finding a job if I vary this instead of having it a normal distribution, and I say, okay, do a parametric analysis. If I found a job in 1 year, if I found a job in 2 years, if I found a job in 3 years, what are those scenarios? And then what do I need to do to be able to kind of survive during those scenarios? That is something that, I mean, can be done later on. Another thing that is interesting, I mean, this is the data science heritability is just kind of an index that I made up to factor in the cost of data science training, the proof of data science work, and the years of experience. And this index is affecting the time to find a data job. The more you're hireable, the less time it takes you to find a job. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, just to show you kind of some of the trade-offs that you're about to make, and then what I'll really end this presentation, at least from my side, before starting the discussion, is what I really advise some of the people that I know that are interested in making the switch is to train yourself really well and then make yourself hireable. And you can do that by taking a lot of some trainings, by doing some projects and put yourself out there online and sharing projects on your website, on blogs, and pretty much everywhere on social media, just putting yourself out there. And then find some project within your existing career and then job that you can let's analyze and use some analytics on, and this will be kind of a really good proof of work for you that you've used your skill set in developing some really interesting data science work for your existing job, and this will make you much more desirable and hireable for these companies that are out there. Um, that's roughly it for the talk today. The last thing I wanted to tell you is mainly after you've decided what you want to do. In this case, I mean, the recommended decision was to stay in your current job while upskilling yourself and then improving your current chances of getting hired. And then really what's next is to start executing and putting a plan to how you're gonna do that. And for me, I mean, what I was mentioning, recommending to you is three things. Put yourself out there and then showcase your work. Two, I mean, train and then continuously learn and improve your skill set. And then three, save some money for the transition if it has to happen um, without you being in your current job. So that is about all I had today. Um, yeah, we're Rogue AI. Anybody is welcome to give a talk about a topic of interest or propose any topic to address, and then you can find us on Facebook and Meetup and subscribe to our newsletter. So thank you guys for coming, and then I'll open the floor for discussions if you have any questions. Let's just keep it here.
Hi Ali, this is Pushpa. Thank you for your presentation. I have a good idea about it. I just want to know what kind of projects have you done, like when you have you're look. I mean, so you're learning data science.
Uh, Many different projects in my current job or before I transitioned.
What I mean, could you tell like?
So are you, let me ask you first maybe a question, then I'll be able to answer you better. Are you interested in transitioning into a data science job, or are you currently in the technology field? What's
Actually, the thing is that I took a break after my child born. So
Mhm.
now, while joining the workforce again, I'm thinking, I mean, I'm preparing for data science. I'm already doing some courses online. So
That's
that's why
amazing.
I'm looking for projects, like what kind of project should I do? And if you can guide me in that, then that would be helpful.
Yeah, that is great. That's really good that you're doing that and then you're taking projects. Maybe let me ask you one more question. What is your previous background? I mean,
My background is software. I have software development. I have around 5 years of experience in software development, basically in C Sharp and C++.
mhm,
So learning new technical things like Python and all is not a difficult thing. And
mhm.
switching from software to data science is a bit smooth for me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
that's the situation.
I think you're in a super good position. Um, what I would do if I'm in your case, since you obviously have the skill set to take this and then excel in this field, the technical skill set. So what I would do, I mean, keep doing what the courses and all of that, and this is nice. This is great, just to kind of showcase that you're still learning and you're continuous learning. But what I would do two things if I'm here. I would have I would work on sample projects targeting certain specific industries that you care about. So, for example, let's say you care about you really like Uber, and then Uber is an amazing company, and then it's your dream company that you want to work for. So I would identify five, six different companies like Uber that you're really interested in working for. And then next is what I would do is I would look at, okay, what is a company like Uber interested in? What type of data do they have? What type of projects are they working on? And then I would reverse engineer what is a likely good project for me to showcase that will attract the attention of Uber. For example, in the case of Uber, fortunately, I mean, they're a data intensive company. I mean, they're super interested in spatial and then temporal data, and then how is that affecting, I mean, ride share and all of that. Okay, but now you're gonna ask, okay, so where do I get this data? How do I start a project like that? There's a lot of open source data out there. Uber, for example, has their data out there. What I would do in your case, for example, I would go and then find data for Uber or related similar to Uber, and then do a sample project about that. In terms of, it can be a simple thing, just collecting the data, cleaning it up, doing an exploratory analysis, visualizing it, building a simple predictive model or an optimization model on the data set, and put all of your work and communicate it out there. Put yourself out there with this work, either through a blog or through a YouTube video or through
Medium or
social.
towards.
Yeah, yes. Just put yourself out there. Do a couple of these projects, one, two, three, four, five, for example, for this target niche of companies that you're interested in. And then you'd have, and this will take you some time. It will take you maybe a couple of months, 2, 3 months. I advise you to do that instead of just the standard course plus certificate and then just put the name of the certificate on your CV. Everybody has that. But no, when somebody will look at your CV or will look at to recruit you and then they see that oh, she's done something relevant and interesting in an area of expertise that you're interested in, they would want to talk to you more, you know? So
Yeah.
you differentiate yourself like that. So that's something that helped me actually in getting my data science job, because I did something related to the new opportunity that I got. So that is one. So put yourself out there. If you don't have a website, do a website. It's super easy. Uh, I mean, just to a portfolio website of all of your work. That'll be something really nice. Uh, Put yourself out there and on social media and then write things. And then next, after you've done all of that, which is basically your homework, is where the hard part comes in, which is reaching out to people. Uh,
Yes, that was my next question.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there are like so many openings, but people are also there in the market. So how to crack
Yeah,
that thing?
yeah. It's you know it's super hard. I don't claim I have kind of a magic bullet, but in my experience, just blindly submitting CVs, the chance and success rate of landing a job from that are super low,
Yeah.
unless especially
Again,
I mean
ATS is another thing. Like they are cleaning the I mean, they're choosing the CVs based on the keyword.
keywords and AI stuff. Yeah, they're filtering that. Nobody is rating the thousands of CV that they're getting. So yeah, I mean, these are homework. All of this stuff I call doing your homework. So yes, prepare your CV, have it really nice, have all the right keywords that you want out there. Do your homework in terms of project and putting yourself out there. And all of this is the homework part. The really hard part now is to reaching out to people and then making connection. And then, for example, if you wanna work with Uber, uh, find people who are working at Uber and just ask them questions. Try to build a relationship with them. Send them an email if you know their email. If you got their email, there's a couple of services out there about you can get emails of people. Um, and then on LinkedIn, you can reach out to some of these people. What else have I done which I thought was interesting? Oh, I mean, some people are really nice. Just hey, can we have coffee? I'm really interested in this, and I would love to have kind of 5, 10 minutes to discuss one, two, three about this. I mean, some people are really nice and they'll give you their time and give you advice about how to do things and how to improve your skill set to get a certain position somewhere, for example. Um, so yeah, my advice, if I want to summarize, is do your homework, CV, portfolio, project, and that should take 30% of your effort, but the other 70% of your effort should be focused on reaching out to people in the areas of interest that you're interested in, and 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 that is where you should put the major of your effort. One last thing I would say is focus. It's really easy to just kind of dump a thousand CV to a thousand different companies. It's super easy to do that, but it won't lead you anywhere. I mean, you have much more chances in saying, okay, I want to focus on companies in this area, for example, let's say the West Coast or California or Texas, I don't know. And then I want to focus on companies, let's say, that are in this industry. They are, for example, in the energy field. And then you would be focusing yourself to go into that field and see what you're more comfortable doing, which area is passionate for you and you have passion around that.
Yeah, understood. Thank you.
Sure, sure. Best of luck. I know it's tough, but I mean now the job market is recovering, and a lot of people are hiring remotely. Um, if I hear,
Hopefully, yeah, because last year it was very tough. I mean, getting call, and now from I think from February or March onwards, the market is improving. I can also see that.